Have you ever snapped awake at 3 a.m., your heart pounding? Not because of a noise or a nightmare, but because a thought hit you like cold water. One day you will die. Or worse, someone you love will. You stare at the ceiling and feel the floor falling away. What do you even do with a thought like that? How do you placate a fear that isn't a what if, but a when? If that's you, breathe. You're not broken, you're human. And tonight we're going to walk through Viktor Frankl's Wane, not to banish mortality, but to face it so directly that it stops chasing you. If death thoughts keep you up, Frankl doesn't say, don't think about it. He says, let's turn and look, and find meaning that steadies you in the looking. Frankl survived the camps. He watched lives end without reason or mercy. When he speaks about fear, he doesn't speak from a cushion. He learned a hard, luminous truth. What protects us in front of the inevitable isn't denial, it's a purpose that pulls us forward. A reason worth waking up for. A task only you can do. That, he believed, could carry a human being through almost anything. Let's start with the first sting of 3 a.m. The sense that you've lost control. A mind that can't control outcomes looks for any small lever, any switch to turn. But death doesn't offer switches. Frankl named a last freedom that lives inside every situation, a last switch, if you want to call it that. It's your stance, your attitude, the tone you choose in response to the fact you can't change. He called it the last of the human freedoms, to decide how you will meet your fate. That sounds noble from a distance, almost abstract. It isn't, it's practical. Imagine this, your mind says, I could die. Someone I love could die. You answer, yes, so I will love them fiercely today. I will do the task I owe. I will shape my hour. That is a stance. You don't feed the spiral with avoidance. You cut it off with responsibility, one action that matters. Frankl saw meaning in 3 directions. First, what you create, the work you do, the service you offer, the change you shape. Second, what you experience and love, the moments you let touch you, the beauty you allow to penetrate you, the people you hold, the wonder you witness. Third, the stance you take toward pain you cannot escape, the dignity you bring to suffering, the courage of your posture when you can't fix the storm. Now take those 3 and lay them gently over your fear of death. If the fear is time is limited, the answer isn't forced optimism. The answer is to spend the time you do have in ways that matter, create, love, and choose your stance. Not tomorrow, tonight, in the small ways within reach. A practical tool, right now, for the midnight panic, paradoxical intention. When you dread a wave of anxiety, you tighten, you fight it, it grows teeth. Frankl guides you to do something counterintuitive. Invite it. If your mind says, I'm about to spiral, respond, good. Let's spiral bigger. Let's feel it fully for 60 seconds. Why? Because fear feeds on your avoidance. When you stop running, the chase ends. You release the added fear of fear. Try this. Whisper, okay, mind. Be dramatic. Show me the worst. I'll sit with the feeling for 1 minute. Breathe slower than the fear wants you to. Ground yourself. Feel the sheet, the weight of your body, the air on your skin. Let the wave crest. Watch what happens when you choose to host the fear instead of fleeing it. The body learns, I can feel this and not shatter. That's paradoxical intention. It's not masochism. It's reclaiming your stance. Another tool. Anxiety is a magnet that pulls your attention inward until the world disappears. Dereflection turns your gaze outward. If death whispers, nothing matters, choose a tiny duty that contradicts it. Set a glass of water on the nightstand for your morning self, the same way you would for someone you love. Put your shoes where you'll need them. Write one line on a note. Call Marisol, text Dad, email the draft. In minutes, you've affirmed there is a person and a task that matter tomorrow. You've made a promise with your hand, not just with your thoughts. Fear loosens its grip when your attention leaves its orbit. Here's a third concrete move, the second time exercise. Frankl often said, live as if you were living already for the second time and had acted as wrongly the first time. That sounds heavy, but it's a gift. It means you get to stand tonight at the crossroads and choose differently. Ask, if I had to relive this day, what tiny regret would I erase? What micro-choice would make me proud? Don't rewrite your life. Just rewrite one moment. Send the apology text. Lay out a book instead of your phone. Set an early alarm for that thing that actually matters to you. You're using mortality not to scare yourself, but to prioritize, kindly, clearly. Remember, meaning isn't only what you build, it's also what you receive. Take the love path seriously. If the thought of losing someone terrifies you, don't run from the ache. Use it like a compass. Let it tell you, this person matters today. Bring them into the room in your mind. See their eyes, hear their laugh. If you're able, send them a line even silently. I will treat you tenderly tomorrow. If they're gone, this is harder but not empty. Love doesn't end. It changes form. Keep a living vow in their name. The vow is a thread between worlds. Every time you honor it, you answer death with meaning. Before we go deeper, I want to ask you something real. If thoughts of death have kept you awake, which of these would help you tonight? Inviting the wave for 1 minute, choosing a tiny duty for tomorrow, or writing a second-time micro-change? Tell me in the comments your answer might help someone else who's watching this in the dark. And if this is speaking to you, tap like and subscribe so these meaning tools find you again when you need them. There's a particular knife-edged fear, not just that life ends, but that it ends before you did the thing you were supposed to do. Frankl would say, you are needed, literally. There is a task that asks for your hands, maybe not the ultimate life's work, maybe not a grand mission, but an assignment for this season, even for tomorrow, something whose fate is, in a real way, in your care. The anxiety loosens when responsibility takes its place. Name it plainly. I am responsible for reading with my kid. I am responsible for finishing page 3. I am responsible for bringing kindness to the meeting. These aren't distractions from mortality. They're responses to mortality. Create a simple responsibility map for the week. 2 people, 2 tasks, 1 beauty. 2 people you will serve with presence. 2 tasks you will advance. 1 piece of beauty you will allow yourself to receive a tree before work. A piece of music. The first sip of coffee in silence. Pin the map where you see it in the morning. Now, when death thoughts knock, you have an answer that isn't an argument. It's a direction. There's another dimension. Many death spirals start with anticipatory anxiety, the fear of the next spike of fear itself. You've learned to dread the dread. Paradoxical intention helps, but so does changing the ritual around it. Set a micro-ritual that defines the boundaries of the night. A phrase, a gesture, a choice. Hand on your chest. I will hold vigil for the living and the dead, and I will sleep. Place your phone across the room and a book on the pillow's edge. 1 page, not to perform calm, but to signal to your nervous system. Night is safer when it's simpler. And when the thought arises, it could all end, answer with the present tense question. What would make this hour worth having happened? Not tomorrow, this hour. Maybe it's writing one line to your future self. Today I loved by doing this small thing. Maybe it's standing in the window, seeing the empty street, and letting the quiet be a teacher. Maybe it's allowing your body to feel tired without judgment. We keep imagining meaning must be heroic. It often looks like faithfulness to the next ordinary act. Now, the toughest part, suffering you can't change. When the fear is not abstract but immediate illness, loss, a diagnosis. Frankl refused to sugarcoat it. He also refused to surrender dignity. He spoke of tragic optimism, the ability to say yes to life in spite of everything. It's not positivity, it's defiance on behalf of what is good. It says, even here I can choose how I carry this. I can refuse to let bitterness be my final word. If that feels impossible, reduce the scale. Choose one graceful act in a graceless place. Make the bed in the hospital room. Share a memory at the table. Thank your body for carrying you another day. That's not small. It's the very shape of meaning under pressure. If you want a night practice that anchors you to meaning, try the 2 letters. Letter 1, the letter to the hour. Write dear 3 a.m. When you come, you always say, _, fill in the sentence with the phrases that haunt you. Don't prettify it. Let it be raw. Then write letter 2, the reply from the future. Imagine a version of you who lived a little longer enough to see this fear from the other side. What does that you say back? It might be simple. Yes, you're right. We all leave. But listen, you don't have to carry this alone. Put it down for now. Tomorrow we'll do the small good things. That's it. That's enough. Fold the letters. Put them by the bed. When the spiral starts, you're not alone in it. You have a second voice ready. There's a story Frankl told, and versions of it have lived in many lives. A man in the camp was losing the will to live. There was nothing to motivate him. Frankl asked, "Is there anyone waiting for you?" The man remembered, a child in another country who would someday read his father's letters. There was a task, survive long enough to write them. That task kept him breathing. I don't tell you this to romanticize suffering. I tell you because meaning is not theoretical, it's concrete, specific, personal. Who would miss the shape of your voice if it disappeared? There is meaning there. Maybe you're not in a crisis. Maybe your fear is the quiet kind, the murmur of what if I waste my life? This is where the second time exercise becomes a daily practice. Every morning, ask, if I had to live today twice, what one choice would I correct? Do it now. Every night, ask, what was my one act of meaning? Write it down, even if it's small, especially if it's small. Watching a sunset on purpose is not trivial. Holding your kid's gaze is not a footnote. These are not consolation prizes. They are the point, you might ask. Isn't thinking about death unhealthy? Shouldn't I distract myself? Frankl would say, measured contemplation of death is not morbid, it's clarifying. Death is not the enemy of meaning. It's the frame that makes meaning visible. A painting without a frame bleeds into the wall. A life without a frame bleeds into noise. When you accept the frame, when you accept that time is not infinite, to begin to choose, you say no more often. You give your yes to what matters. There's also humor. Don't forget it. Frankl used humor as a rope ladder out of panic. If the spiral starts, you might greet it with a half smile and say, "Ah, yes, my favorite midnight thriller. Everything ends. Seen it." Spoiler, we love anyway. A little irreverence toward your fear breaks the trance. It doesn't trivialize the truth. it punctures the performance. So, let's stitch this together into a night plan you can actually use. When the death thought arrives, you do not debate it. You set a 1-minute timer and invite the wave. Then you place one small stone for tomorrow, a note, a glass of water, shoes by the door, one line to someone you love. Then you ask the second time question and adjust one tiny choice. If there's still static in your chest, you read your 2 letters. And if your mind keeps talking, you answer aloud, gently, "Thank you, mind, we're safe." We'll carry meaning in the morning. We can sleep now. Over time, your nervous system learns that 3 a.m. is not a battleground. It's a place where you reaffirm what matters and then rest. The fear doesn't vanish, it softens. It becomes a teacher, an honest one, even a tender one. You'll start to notice something else. Daytime gets brighter. The coffee tastes more like coffee. You check your phone a little less, because some part of you understands the cost of attention. You say "I love you" more easily. Mortality didn't make you bleak, it made you precise. If you want a daytime practice to match, keep a small card in your pocket, 2 people, 2 tasks, 1 beauty. Cross them off with a pen, not an app. Handwriting is embodied. It tells your brain, "I am here, alive, moving, choosing." One last truth from Frankl's posture. You don't need the feeling of meaning before you act meaningfully. Action often comes first. The feeling follows later, quietly. Tonight, even if you feel nothing but dread, choose an act that aligns with who you want to be. A kind message, a glass of water for tomorrow, a page in a book that reminds you the world is larger than your fear. Then put your hand on your heart and speak a sentence of stance. I cannot control the length of my life, but I will control its tone. I will carry what is mine to carry, and I will love what is mine to love. Death thoughts at 3 a.m. are not a curse. They are a bell, not a fire alarm to panic you, but a church bell to call you back to what matters. You answer not by arguing, but by living. That is how you stop the spiral, by giving it nothing to feed on, except your quiet, steady yes to life. When morning comes, keep your vow. 1 act, 1 person, 1 beauty. That is how meaning bends fear until it points you forward. And when the next night arrives, you won't be surprised. You'll know what to do. You'll remember Frankl's gentle instruction. In the face of what you cannot change, choose your stance. In the light or in the dark, the last freedom is still yours.